Now, look at the pyramid on the back of your $1 bill. Saw this on the internet. Very interesting information here is presented. The base is 1776. And it's theorized that if you climb the steps at 13-year intervals, how many colonies did we have at the beginning? 13. So they use 13. You climb it by 13-year intervals. The peak or the eye is 2010. And the arc writing at the base of the pyramid, in principle, states one world order. Well, what's money? It's on our money. Economics. If '08 would be a first national Sunday law, presumably in the fall, according to the patterns we've been seeing, know what it says.
To worship the first beast, the papacy, whose deadly wound was healed.
To worship the beast. A day of rest, a day of worship. And to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. What happens first? Because the world wonders, if the deadly wound can be healed, can we follow suit? Is there something to gain by doing this? That's the question. How about the money, the 2010? Economic restrictions? Could that be possible? Take a look at what the Bible writes here.
No man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Further, how about the death decree? There appears to be several implementations of or enforcement of a Sunday law. It's possible. We don't know. But look what it says in the Scriptures.
Would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Something to consider. Christ has stated in Matthew 24,
But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only.
Does this mean that Christ himself does not even know the year, traditionally accepted as representing the day and the hour of his second coming? We'll be quiet on that. We'll let you think about that. Now, Ellen G. White related some history about definite time, preached in 1844. Follow this. This is very, very, very profound.
The proclamation of a definite time, October 22, 1844, for Christ's coming called forth great opposition from many of all classes. The words of prophecy were fulfilled, There shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, Where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. Many who professed to love the Savior declared that they had no opposition to the doctrine of the Second Advent. They merely objected to the definite time. But God's all-seeing eye read their hearts. They did not wish to hear of Christ's coming to judge the world in righteousness.
She continues,
They had been unfaithful servants. Their works would not bear the inspection of the heart-searching God, and they feared to meet their Lord. Like the Jews at the time of Christ's first advent, they were not prepared to welcome Jesus. They not only refused to listen to the plain arguments from the Bible, but ridiculed those who were looking for the Lord. Satan and his angels exulted, and flung the taunt in the face of Christ and his holy angels that his professed people had so little love for him that they did not desire his appearing.
Do we want him to appear? This is the question. And this is what she's bringing out here. Does our resistance to think outside the box, is this because we don't want him to come? Each of us should be doing some deep soul searching. These are very, very incredible statements. I did not find them. They were shared with me. And I find them very, very interesting.
No man knoweth the day nor the hour was the argument most often brought forward by rejectors of the Advent faith. A clear and harmonious explanation of this text, Matthew 24:36, was given by those who were looking for the Lord, and the wrong use made of it by their opponents was clearly shown. The words were spoken by Christ in that memorable conversation with his disciples upon Olivet, after he had for the last time departed from the temple. The disciples had asked the question, What shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Jesus gave them signs, and said, "When ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors." One saying of the Savior must not be made to destroy another. Though no man knoweth the day nor the hour of his coming, we are instructed and required to know when it is near.
Those are words we can contemplate. And she finally wrote this.
We are further taught that to disregard his warning and refuse or neglect to know when his advent is near will be as fatal for us as it was for those who lived in the days of Noah not to know when the flood was coming. Recall that they knew the year. And the parable in the same chapter, contrasting the faithful and the unfaithful servant and giving the doom of him who said in his heart, "My Lord delayeth his coming," shows in what light Christ will regard and reward those whom he finds watching and teaching his coming, and those denying it. "Watch therefore," he says, "blessed is that servant whom his Lord when he cometh shall find so doing. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee."
Okay, again, note that they knew the year, not the day and the hour, not the exact time, but they knew the year that the flood was going to occur. I don't think God is possibly that unfair to not give us a very clear warning. It's to me, it is quite possible that it's something we've not considered. Maybe we're supposed to understand it this way. Clearly, our paradigm as Seventh-day Adventists doesn't jive with that. The disappointment from 1844 surely makes us cautious here. And I'm cautious too. We just don't know this for sure. But at the same time, it behooves us to be awake, because our redemption draws nigh. It could be very, very close. It's possible. And I think what each of us should be asking ourselves, how can all these patterns come together like this? I've been very reluctant to present this chronology. It's been hard to do because it's so contrary to my paradigm. Being raised that we're not going to know the year and things like this, it makes it very difficult to present this. But much prayer has gone in to reach this point and do it. I fear that if this is correct and I don't present it, what's going to be my condemnation for having known and not having said anything? This is not good for my side, if you understand. And I think those that are contributing, working here, feel likewise. We don't know this for sure. Take it for what it's worth. Regarding the clear and harmonious explanation referred to in the previous reading from Ellen G. White, and in regards to definite time, given both before and after the Great Disappointment, James White stated in 1847,
"Will not the day and hour of Jesus' appearing be made known by the voice of the eternal God? That the day and hour will be known by the true children of God and no others appears plain from the fact that we are exhorted to watch for it. And if we do not watch, Jesus will come on us as a thief, and we shall not know what hour he will come upon us. So that none but those who truly watch and hold fast will know the true time." Here I will introduce a quotation from the True Midnight Cry of August 22, 1844.
James White continues,
Concerning the time of that, or Christ's coming, he says in Mark 13:32, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father." It is thought by many that this passage proves that men are never to know the time. But if it proves this, it likewise proves that the Son of God himself is never to know the time. For the passage declares precisely the same concerning him, that it does concerning angels and men. But can any person believe that our glorious Lord, to whom all power in heaven and earth is given, is and will remain ignorant of the time until the very moment that he comes to judge the world?
James White closes with the following.
If not, then certainly this text can never prove that men may not be made to understand the time. An old English version of the passage reads, But that day and hour no man maketh known, neither the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. This is the correct reading according to several of the ablest critics of the age. The word know is used here in the same sense as it is by Paul in 1 Corinthians 2 verse 2. Paul well understood many other things besides Christ and Him crucified, but he determined to make known nothing else among them. So in the passage first quoted it is declared that none but God the Father maketh known the day and hour, that is, the definite time of the second coming of His Son. And this necessarily implies that God makes the time known.